My Big Fat Zombie Goldfish by Mo O'Hara. Read by Miss Claybaugh. Chapter 12. The Return of the Mommy. Beep beep. We heard Mom's car pull into the drive. Oh no, I said. Pradeep and I quickly ran over to Mark and helped him sit up. He was still holding onto his head where he banged it when he fell into the sandbox. Sammy just sat there, still hugging the watering can. Mom came straight around the back of the house and ran over to us. She could tell there was something wrong. Moms have this thing where they know stuff that should be impossible to know, like that you didn't eat your carrot sticks at lunch, or that it was you who put the ham slice in the CD player to see what ham sounded like, or that your undead zombie goldfish hypnotized your neighbor's daughter and then tried to kill your evil scientist big brother, but at the last minute changed his mind to save your life. You know, that kind of thing. I took one look at Mom and was sure she would figure it out. It was so obvious what had happened. But the first thing she said was, "What on earth happened here?" "We were just playing," Pradeep said right away. The game got a little messy, and wet, and, he was talking really fast and looking really guilty. Mom was definitely going to get that something was up. "Fishy is swishy," Shammy shouted. "Yay!" "Oh, that's sweet. You let Samina play with your fish, Mark," Mom said. "But why do you have the fish outside in a watering can?" "It needed some fresh air," I said, which Mom is always telling us that we need, so it must be true for fish too. Although usually when Mom tells us to go outside, it's because she wants to talk to Dad alone or shout at Aunt Sarah on the phone. "Okay," Mom's voice said in a normal kind of way, but her face was really saying, "What are they up to?" "Mark, are you all right?" she added. Mark rubbed his head. He looked over at me and Pradeep, and then at Sammy and the watering can. "The goldfish tried to kill me," he said. "I tripped and fell in the sandbox, and then it aimed the skateboard at me." Mom went over to Mark and felt his head for bumps. She's an expert bump finder after all these years. I bet she could be a doctor in bumps and stuff. "You banged your head pretty bad, Mark." She held her fingers in front of Mark and said, "How many am I holding up?" "It tried to kill me," Mark mumbled. Mom looked over at me and Pradeep. "What happened?" Then I heard myself say the most untrue thing ever. Mark was being really nice, playing with Sammy in the sandbox and on the trampoline. "Bouncy, bouncy, crash," said Sammy, now jumping on the trampoline with the watering can. I leaned over and gently took the can away from her. "Then he did a trick bounce that made Sammy laugh," Pradeep said, which really isn't a lie because he did do that even though he didn't mean to. "He must have hit his head when he fell," I said. "Oh, poor you," Mom said to Mark as she rubbed his head. "But what's this about the goldfish?" She helped him stand up, and then he walked over to where I was standing with the watering can. He stared at Frankie. The goldfish started thrashing around in the water like mad again, and his eyes went bright green. "Mom, look at the goldfish," Mark said, pointing wildly at the watering can. "It's gone nuts. It really tried to kill me." Pradeep and I shot each other a look. We couldn't say anything out loud, but our faces said that we needed a new color jelly bean code because this was way beyond a code red. Mom couldn't look now. She'd see Frankie being all zombie fish. Then she would let Mark flush him for sure, or she'd send him off to some government place where they keep pets that have gone all supernatural and dangerous. "All right," she said. "I'll look at the goldfish." She marched over towards us. We were doomed. Chapter 13. Got my zombie eye on you. "Please, Frankie," I whispered as I peered into the watering can. "Mark's not completely evil, really. I won't let him hurt you, but you can't try and kill him again, okay?" Frankie stopped thrashing and looked up out of the watering can at me. His eyes stopped glowing and he got that goldfish stare back again. Mom leaned over the watering can. "Is that fish staring up my nostril?" she said. Pradeep and I looked into the can. Phew. I mean, yes, I guess, I said. You said the goldfish was trying to kill you, Mark? Mom said again, going back to him and feeling his head for bumps a second time. Was that before or after you bumped your head? Definitely after, Pradeep said. Yeah, he started talking weird just after he fell, I said. Bouncy, bouncy, bang, Sammy said, nodding her head. The kid was in on it. She was all goldfish stary, and she was out to get me too, Mark said, backing away from Sammy. Sammy giggled. Swishy little fishy. Ah! Mark yelled and ran and hid behind Mom. Okay, we need to go to the hospital to get them to look at your head. I think you've got a concussion. She led Mark over to the edge of the sandbox to sit him down. I'm going to go speak to your mom, Pradeep. I'm sure she won't mind looking after you all until Mark and I get back from the hospital. She took Sammy's hand. You can come with me, Samina, to see Mommy. She turned to me and Pradeep. I'll be back in a second. You boys please look after him, okay? Keep him talking. Pradeep and I looked at each other nervously. It was like we were being left with a tiger that was just waking up, and we knew he was going to wake up pretty mad. How are you feeling, Mark? I said quietly. Mark growled in that evil scientist's big brother way. Then he jumped up and leaned over Pradeep and me. You morons and this stupid goldfish won't win, he said. But it doesn't matter, because as soon as I get home, that fish is flushed, and I'll stick your moron heads down the. But he didn't get to finish his threat. Frankie leaped out of the watering can, his eyes glowing a shining green. He started flapping his tail back and forth, whacking Mark across the face. Ow, ow, get it off, Mark said, and fell backwards into the sandbox. I scooped up Frankie in my hands and plopped him back into the watering can. I don't think you'll be flushing anything, Mark, I heard myself saying in a really strong voice, like I was on some TV cop show or something. I think you're going to leave me and Pradeep and Sammy and Frankie alone, I said. Who's Frankie? Mark said. My goldfish, I said, looking down at Frankie swimming around in the can. And I wouldn't mess with him because he can kick your butt. Pradeep stepped forward. Um, yeah, right, like Tom said, he mumbled and smiled at me. Chapter 14. Zombie Sleepover. Mom raced back over from Pradeep's house. Okay, boys, thanks for looking after Mark. She winked at me and ruffled my hair. You can act very grown up sometimes, can't you? When you put your mind to it. Frankie splashed in his watering can. I think we should get Frankie back into his bowl for the night, I said. He's had enough air. Pradeep's mom said you can have your dinner there and then sleep over. It might be best. You never know how long the hospital will take. Remember when you had a concussion from running into that door? Why is it always my boys? She shook her head. Come on, Mark. She helped him up from the sandbox and took him to the car. He was still talking about the fish being out to get him. Mom just nodded. Oh, and Mark, I yelled to him as Mom was pulling out of the drive, don't worry about the pictures for your experiment. We'll take some good ones for you. The last thing I saw as Mom rounded the corner toward the hospital was Mark banging on the back window, mouthing the words, Moron, no! Pradeep and I went in and got Frankie's goldfish bowl from upstairs, washed it out, and then headed over to Pradeep's house for the night. We decided Frankie deserved a sleepover too, and Sammy wanted to play with him again. After dinner, we got into our pajamas and had the marshmallow popcorn earths with the white chocolate melting ice caps, and we took lots of cool pictures of Frankie. Mom phoned Pradeep's house to say that she was staying with Mark because the doctors wanted to keep him overnight so they could keep an eye on him. I told Mom to make sure it wasn't a very big eye if they could help it. He is my big brother after all, and I think from now on he'll probably go back to being just mostly evil, as long as Frankie's around. My big fat zombie goldfish friend and bodyguard. When Pradeep's mom put Sammy to bed, Pradeep and I got out our sleeping bags and told each other scary zombie stories. Telling scary stories is one of the top things about sleepovers. But the top thing about sleepovers now is if we scare ourselves too much, we've always got a zombie goldfish nightlight to make everything seem brighter and a bit green. How cool is that?